Hello, brothers and sisters, because girls watch porn too, just not as many as far as we know. But anyway, let's get on this here. Videos, yeah, talking about porn and all that good stuff. Stop watching porn, alright? I made a video on pride and overconfidence yesterday, and I'm going to talk about kind of the flip side of that, is that there's another side to pride here, okay? And that is something that I kind of term false humility. And really, I lump that under the umbrella of pride. Pride, I think, has several forms. The most common one is the kind of high and mighty form that we most commonly, refer to as pride. And the other form of pride is this false humility, which is thinking of yourself as being less than you really are, or in the case of, my Christian perspective, less than God says you are, or as being unable to follow God, or not being good enough to follow God, anything like that. And the reason I refer to that as pride, and not just, I don't know, whatever else you might call it, is that because at the end of the day, you're still making everything about you. Instead of worrying about what God says, you're worrying about, what are my failures? What are my inabilities? What are my problems? I'm not good enough. Instead of God is good enough to do whatever He wills through me, if I'm just obedient, So that I consider to be pride too, because it's making everything about you. And the reason this is a problem in quitting pornography is that, man, it messes up your identity. You think, I'm just such a horrible sinner, and God is so displeased with me, God hates me, or it's just I'm just the worst, and look at all these failures that I've had. Look at all these years that I've been addicted to porn. Look at all these horrible thoughts that I've thought, all these horrible things I've watched, all this stuff that's in my head that I just can't seem to get rid of, these ways that I think and these ways I look at people, and blah, 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 blah. I'm just too bad of a person to follow God and quit porn and get free of this addiction. Well, that's a lie. And that's pride. So acknowledge that first right here. Acknowledge, if that's how you're thinking, if that's even a hint of how you're thinking, then acknowledge right now, okay, I have an issue with pride. I'm making this about me. When it's not about me, it's about obedience to God, okay? It's about obeying God. It's about doing what He says to do, okay? Doesn't matter what you think you can or cannot do. All that matters is what God says to do. The Bible is full of examples of people who just doubted their own circumstances, or doubted God's ability or willingness or whatever to work through their negative circumstances. You look at Abraham and Sarah. They didn't think that they could have a kid because, we're just too old. And God said, no, I do what I want. Look at, I should remember his name, but I don't at the moment. John the Baptist's father. Pretty sure it was John the Baptist's father. But God said, hey, you're going to have a kid. And he's like, no. And God was like, yeah, also you can't talk now. So, don't doubt God, okay? If God tells you to do something, He says something's going to happen, don't doubt Him on that, okay? Don't try to say, my circumstances are too bad, or I'm just not good enough, or something like that. God has got it, okay? And if God tells you to obey, if God tells you to quit watching porn, and He has, He's told us to not commit adultery, and He has said that lust is a form of adultery. So, cut that lust out of your life because God said to. And here's the thing, it is possible for you to do it because God told you to do it. Does that make sense? God's not going to just send you on some kind of wild goose chase to beat yourself up for the rest of your life because you have a sex drive, okay? That is absolute bull. I don't curse on this channel. I don't think it's inherently sinful, but I don't do it. Anyway, that's bull, and that's a form of pride, okay? That is 100% pride, to think that you're just not good enough to do God's will. So recognize it as such, defeat it, get that pride under control, attack it, because it is the enemy just as much as porn addiction is, okay? So, pride. It takes a lot of forms. One of those forms is thinking of yourself as less than you are, thinking of yourself as unable to do what God wants you to do. Right? That's about it for now. I'm going to go hang out. You guys have a wonderful, blessed, marvelous, porn-free day, week, month, rest of your life, whatever. Keep praying, pray for each other, work together, get accountability, focus on God, alright? Don't worry about your own abilities, focus on obeying God, okay? Check out my other videos if you want more on this. Cover so many facets of this subject. Subscribe if you want to keep up with that. It'll be great. That's about it. Have a good day. I will talk to you guys later.